Okay, next next court we're looking at in the HAMMERFALL Grifball Court contest is Submerged by GreyMuffinBass. Or is it GreyMuffinBass? MuffinBass. Just opening up the Trello board, and no one's commented on it at all yet, so let's be the first. Well, typically I am the first. Green shots look good. See what it actually looks like. Actually, taking a while to generate lighting on this one. Or if it's got a high piece count or if it's just Xbox. Nice. Let's check the piece count out first of all. 1440 is a bit high for Grifball Court, but we'll go in and have a look and see if it poses any problems. Ooh. Okay, it's a completely invisible floor. The containment issue, but I can tell right now that it's just a matter of plopping that lid back down. He's probably just left this up for me to be nice. Those are about, I don't know, figure it out. All right, let's oh, I went into player mode in a kill volume. Okay, he's got the emissive textures on these. They're a little bit on the bright side. No, they're not too bad. Let's look at the other one. See, sometimes with these they look great at a distance, but when you get close, they can kind of fill your screen up. And then it's hard to see players. I don't know. I just wonder if it's all block by blockers. I was going to turn it down one unit to see if it's any better, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. Visibility seems to be okay. And he's turned the fog down for this map, which helps. Now, even though there's quite a high piece count, appears to be fairly solid frame rate from what I can see in Forge mode anyway. I always check it in game. Seems to be a pretty solid frame rate. Normally, we have problems when courts don't have floors. It's disorienting for players. I think he's got just enough of a structure so that it doesn't happen. Some players say they get nauseous when they play on Grifball courts with invisible floors. I might recommend just maybe I'm going to make this recommendation. You can choose to accept the idea or not, but maybe put one more spar across the middle that joins up this side to this side, same as the other ones here, but one more across the middle, and that will make it so that the middle won't have this huge open area of not having a visible floor. It will help. I think it will help quite a bit with orienting players and stopping this the effect where people get nauseated by floors that are invisible. What most people have done so far in cases like this are they use the grid in place of an invisible floor. But I think, as I said, if you add the extra spar down the middle, I think that will break it up enough. And not only that, if you look at your structure, You see each one of these circles has the outside spar and then another spar going off it, but the middle one is just kind of floating there in the middle with no structure holding it up. So it wouldn't, I don't know, I think it would make more sense to have another spar across the middle, and it would help the players as well. It wouldn't, it'd give their eyes something to focus on to understand where the floor is. So that's an idea. I think you should do it though. I think it would help quite a bit, and I think it would look better on the map as well as far as the cohesive design goes. Technically, you're using the right pieces for player containment, except for the one, of course. Same as this side here. You have a wall hop and clamber ledge that I'm guaranteeing will work because I can just tell by looking at it. Yep. As I say to everyone, make sure that your clamber ledges work at joints and at corners. Make sure that test in game mode, not in forge mode. Always test in game mode, and make sure do it maybe 30 or 40 times on each joint to make sure there's no dead spots. Because sometimes you'll just get a really small dead spot where the pieces collide. And I see what you've done here is you have it's more open. It's not made of two solid pieces that are overlapping. It's made up of solid pieces, so that could help. It could also hinder. So just make sure that that's okay, and check these joints in game mode, because sometimes when you have a joint that's open like this, there's a little bit of a gap there. Sometimes they exaggerate in actual game mode, and then you go back to forge mode and they're back to being smooth again. But just do what I do, is you walk slowly backwards and see if you get hung up on them in game mode. Now you see that's perfectly smooth going that way, and try it the other way. Don't run, just go as slow as you can move and see if it hangs you up in game mode, not in forge mode. And if it does, then just adjust them, because as I say, these are odd things that these are large 128 invisible blockers can shift in game mode, but you come back into forge mode and they're right back to where they're supposed to be. So make sure that this wall is clamberable along the full length in game mode, not in forge mode. Okay. Your spawns look fine. A little bit of a height difference here. I don't know if that's a problem. And I don't believe your spawns. Let me just set it to. Sorry, set it to normal. Normal. And then I let it go. And it didn't move, so that means that they're placed directly on the floor, so that's fine. I'm not going to save this, so it doesn't matter. Normal physics. Everything else looks pretty good. The floor looks fairly smooth. There's a bit of a bump here, or I should say a little bit of a gap here. So the best way to treat those is just go into forge mode and push them over so they overlap the other ones. And if you see Z fighting, you know you've done it right. And check the joints as well in game to make sure that there's no bumps, because as I said, I usually recommend using the 128 cubes for floors rather than the 128 sheets for floors. They just they place better and they stay put better. But if this floor is fine and you test it in game and there's no bumps whatsoever, then you should be okay. And see, because there is a little bit of very minor earthquake glitch happening, very, very minor, where there's a little bit of a gap that's formed here. But it seems to be very minor. Like, it doesn't catch my monitor when I roll the monitor over it. Normally if there's a gap or a bump, it'll catch your monitor, but it doesn't seem to be a problem. So these floors might be okay. As I say, test in game, and the best way. I was holding the wrong button. I had an old configuration, but I'm missing one of the paddles on my Lead controller. Yeah, it's still smooth. It's still smooth. The way you do it is you go up, you go down, and you still hold the A button to stay down, and just roll across the joints and make sure they're smooth. And in game, just mark where the spot is and check in game by sprinting and sliding, okay? And you should get a full slide out of that. If you don't get a full slide out of it, then the bump is kicking you out of the slide. But I think these floors should be okay. So I don't think that's a problem. Just maybe fill those gaps a little bit that have grown here. Just they say, just grab the one piece and slide it over so that there's no gaps. Might be as long as you don't open up other gaps elsewhere. That should be okay though. Trying to see. I'm going to go over my checklist. Do I see any perches? No. No perches. No ledges. No obstructions. Frame rate seems to be okay. You know, considering your piece count, everything seems to be nice and spread out. So the frame rate I don't see as a problem, but I would check it in game mode with other players in, and make sure your frame rate is pretty solid. It seems to be solid. A lot of other underwater maps, they condense the plankton, or not plankton, whatever those things are, the plants, the natural stuff. They condense it a bit too much and it gets frame ratey, but yours are nice and spread out, so it should be okay. And it's a nice clean layout. I don't know if that's a destructible, but it doesn't seem to be in forge mode, so, and it's got an invisible blocker in front of it anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. I'm okay with it being destructible if it is, and you smash it with a hammer. I'm okay with that if you are. if it is a destructible piece. Yeah, there's just a bit. You see, there's a bit of glare on that. I think that's set to 1. Try 0, and if that doesn't work, it should be okay. As I say, it's just, you know, when you get in close, it can be a little bit blinding. You know, if you're trying to locate the ball, or, you know, I don't know, whatever the scenario is where you're looking down in this area, it kind of fills the screen and washes it out. So, but you know, it's not too bad. I say if you can tone it down a bit, instead, if it's white, try like a 20 or 30% gray. That'll just tone it down just a little bit. It's probably the same over here. Yeah, it is the same over here. Yeah, just tone it down just a bit if you can. You know, you don't have to, but it'd be good if you did, I think. I think that's about it for this one. Pretty solid entry. As I say, if you can get the piece count a little bit down, but if you don't experience frame rate, then that's okay. Oh, I see you've got the scripting platforms out there. You can actually see those in game. So what I would do is just group them back up and put them, they can't be near the court because they're based on respawning objects, but just put them somewhere where they can't be seen. Just tuck them away somewhere, because you can see the scripting platform from in here. Even though it's glass, there's bits of reflections off them and stuff like that. You can see. Maybe just take it and move it just so it's out of sight somewhere. Yeah, and as I say, group the whole thing together and move the whole here. I'm just see if it's grouped still. No, it's not grouped. So you have to make sure you grab. Whoop. Mean to do that. Yes, and it should be 8 items. Group it and tuck it off where it's tuck it away where it can't be seen. Yeah, so just put it away. So I think that's it. Nice job. Make those changes and just edit your post. Don't re-enter it again. I'm telling everyone that, but a lot of people are doing it. just re-edit the post and say that you've updated the map and what changes you've made to it, and we'll have a look at it again in another week or two, and we'll just keep looking at it until it's 100% ready to go. So I think that's it for this one. I'm gonna shut it down because I'm doing separate videos for each map rather than all strung together. So I'll just move on to the next one, and good work.